Hey, welcome back. As the preview may have alluded to, today is the day. I've been cleaning the shop, and I've kind of decided that I'm going to put the spree back together with the RT95 motor. It's mostly there, it's a lot of just bolting it together, wiring some stuff up. Hopefully at some point in time as well with that, I will have a dyno. I've been trying to make one. Trying to find a large electric motor here where I'm at is coming up short. That is like the limiting factor that I have with that. Just wanting to be able to tune it properly and not really having access to a dyno of sorts to mess around with it on, so I can do it kind of safely. I mean, road tuning is fine and all, but it'd be nice if I could just do it in a controlled environment. I have a few upgrades I'd like to do. So number one big item is to ditch the speedo setup and the headlight setup and redo all that stuff because I hate it. And I did it in a rush a couple of years ago to get into a scooter rally, and it's driven me crazy ever since. I'd like to put a real rear shock on it and try and find some better forks. I did a bunch of work to these forks, but I'm still just not super happy with how they work. I don't know what options I have short of buying like expensive Malossi forks, and the Malossi forks are far too long, so I gotta find a middle ground, maybe find some like nice ruckus forks or something, but they're all kind of junky. They don't really offer any kind of like adjustment of any sorts. For the most part, other than that, this is basically bone stock spree frame. I haven't even cut or welded anything really at all other than adding 2 rib nuts in here and then welded the inserts in just so I could mount this tie bar. In order to get a shock on it, I actually did a single shock with an overarm setup. This is a thing I made a long time ago, way back. It is not the prettiest thing, but it does work. It just basically allows the cases to share the load on both sides of the wheel for a rear shock mounted up underneath the covers on the other side. It works really well. I put 600, 800 kilometers on this thing over the years in a couple of different forms, and it's lasted a while, although it looks very worse for wear and pretty rugged as well. I could probably shed a few pounds on this alone. So that might be on the list of things that I might redo at some point, but for now, we'll even just use this to mock everything up and get everything set up. I made this solid rear mount a little while back. It allows a DO motor to bolt in, and then you can use washers on either side, or like alignment shims on either side to center the wheel in the rear. And I'd like to put a better rear shock on it as well. It's just an AliExpress one that I modified the yoke to make it go as low as I could, but I mean, even like a nice mountain bike shock or something would probably be significantly lighter. Other than that, there's not too much else that I really would want to do. Just get it running and get some tuning done to it. But this thing should be a rocket. It is a very light scooter. It doesn't weigh anything. Oh, and at some point I'll have to make a larger fuel tap to try and feed that 30 mil carb. It's got like a 3/16 hole in it maybe for the outlet, if that. So I'll probably just make a solid pass-through one and then put an inline on-off on it, just so it's full flow all the time. And I've already got a custom-made stem I made a few years back that holds a set of carbon fiber mountain bike handlebars. Oh, and the other thing I'd like to do is get rid of these levers and put ideally try and find some mountain bike brakes that use DOT brake fluid, and put just like a mountain bike lever on one side and a small self-contained brake on the other side. Yeah, these things are horrible. Or find a nice set of Magiras, but I don't know if that's in the books to do. They're pretty pricey. But what I'd like to do today is just get the motor bolted in and the suspension so it's on its own wheels and can be rolled around the shop. I'm gonna have to redo the exhaust bracket that I made to accommodate this, and then maybe make a bracket off of it I think at the end, like I mentioned earlier, I'll probably just remake this whole thing, but for mocking it up and getting it in there, it should work just fine. And I'll have to make a new wiring harness, as I stole a wiring harness off of this when I sold the twin motor. It was kind of custom to that motor, so not a big deal. I'll probably try and simplify it as much as possible. So let's jump right into it and get this thing into a roller. Here it is. I got it to roll around. Motor is in. Nothing's really plumbed. I have a bunch of stuff to do with the handlebars, different levers and stuff. So it is rolling. I still have a whole pile of stuff over there to install. I have slicks and water pump and a bunch of electronics and throttle cables and gauging and whatnot. So this is going to be somewhat of a long-termish project. I don't think I'm going to have it done within a month or so, but hopefully sometime this summer. Well, that's it for tonight. Until next time, take care.